all. This is Dr. Mobeen Sayed from DrBeen.com. Welcome to one more show. I still have not become used to saying something else for KoolBeens Cafe. So I still keep saying the same thing. Anyways, today I wanted to, number one, we will have the art day tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll have, is it tomorrow or day after? Um, Let me just 1 second, please. Okay, so Thursday, not tomorrow. My apologies. Thursday, we would have Paul do a recap of the stats, and after that we'll do the chit chat and we'll do art. Thursday, my apologies if I've said Wednesday. Today as well I said it, and so sorry for the confusion. And please have your pencils and paper and eraser, or maybe no eraser, and we'll go from there. So for today, so Barbara, Thursday. Yeah, I was confused. So Casey, so sorry if Casey is here. We'll have to tell her that it would be um, Thursday. Casey is here. I lost a day. Sorry. So Thursday, Casey. All right. I wanted to start from some place here. So look at this. So of course, this is DrBeen.com. Alexander says Dr. Bean has no glasses today. Did he went with nothing or contacts? Contacts. So okay. Uh, Alexander is observant. Okay, back here. Continuing medical education here and personalized medical education, 1000 lectures. Think about it. Just one lecture is worth of, I would think, about $50 to $100. There are 1000 lectures. And just click on the link in the description to see the price. These are premium lectures, and if you buy them, that is actually a great support at this time as well, while we are so much under attack. But it's not a compulsory thing. It's just a good opportunity. Okay. I wanted to go over this Omicron BA2 variant, now dominant in the US. So there has been a lot of concern about Omicron. For example, Fauci said on Sunday that US should be ready, Americans should be ready for the restrictions to be put in place once more. I think we need to reduce this rhetoric of mandates and lockdowns again and again. Um, so I wanted to share something over here which is interesting. Check this out. The good news is that Omicron strains, so that is BA1, BA2, and the related cousins, are much less virulent than Delta. We all know this, nothing new here. But as the US saw in early February of this year, Omicron's increased transmissibility can still create a wave of deaths equal to or surpassing that of Delta by the sheer number of infections alone. That is fine. But Omicron has done a lot of, it has infected a lot of people. But this is more important to read. One state, and I wish that this paragraph was actually higher up, but if this paragraph was higher up, then you would not read this article. One state where cases have risen alongside BA2 is Florida. COVID numbers from datahubhelix.com indicate that by mid-March, Omicron BA2 accounted for 66% of all new cases in this state. And this state has I think, a difference from other states because of their no mandates or less mandates. And so the herd immunity may be different, but still interesting to see. The 7-day average of new cases in the state have risen from about 2,300 on March 23 to about 4,200 on March 28 per CDC data. But hospitalizations have actually dropped. So whether or not BA2 will have a substantial impact on the local healthcare system remains to be seen, as hospitalizations generally lag cases by 2 weeks. Now, if we go to Florida, this is the situation. So Florida has a peak. starting from, so this is November, then this is December, I would think, and this is Omicron. This wave is Omicron. BA2 is introduced now. So we are not really seeing another huge wave. So this is, for example, March 1, January 37,000, and then continue to go down. So here, February, and then March 12, and so on. So I do not know if they are testing more or, excuse me, more or not, but this is their cases. Look at the deaths. Deaths are actually reduced. And if you look at this table, cases, this is daily average on March 28, 1,299. Now just look at this report here. They were saying that the cases are about 4,200 on March 28. Here, Florida is saying 1,299. 14 days change, 5%. Tests, 23% more. But look at this, hospitalization, 30% less. ICU, 38% less. Deaths, 49% less. So sure, when the wave will appear, there will be, unfortunately, people getting sick, but and there will be deaths as well. However, it seems like BA2 is not uh, as devastating as deltas were. And so my request to Paul is if he can talk a little more about BA2 in the US in our Thursday discussion. So look at this daily new hospital admissions by age in Florida. That wave is kind of up for everyone. Hotspots, cases, deaths, and other trends by county. So that data is there as well. And how the trends have changed, they have that data too. So interesting data to look at. So that is about BA2. Then this is another one. If you got J&J vaccine, consider 2 mRNA booster shots, CDC data suggests. This is what I totally am not happy about. What is their basis for asking when the Omicrons are doing better? Again, this all can be nuanced, and that is there are some people who need to have protection and they cannot mount a great protection. And for them, if they had this one, what is this, Johnson and Johnson, then it may be interesting for them to keep their immune system up. But the side effects and Omicron's potential has to also be looked at. So this is just strange that they do this. So anyways, this is a news that CDC is saying that people who had Johnson & Johnson should go get 2 doses of Moderna, any mRNA. And this reminds me that when I had, when the Johnson & Johnson came out, I had said that it seems like they have got themselves in the mix by saying we are 1 dose only. And here now we are reaping the benefit of them trying to get in the race by saying 1 dose. And now they're saying, well, the CDC is saying, well, go back and take the mRNA vaccines 2 doses, which is get the primary series again. So get the vaccine again. So John Snyder says Americans need to install 222 nanometer UV everywhere and filtration between restaurant tablets and tables and offices. Critical Thought says, is it possible to activate a notification for KoolBeens Cafe Live in the Discord? My YouTube notifications are quite delayed, thus I arrive late. So yes, I have requested Holland to help me attach this one in Discord as well, this channel. So we'll do that in a couple of days. Danilo says, sir, is it possible that that the mRNA or any vax only induce a T cell response but no B cell response at all just after vaccination? before any infection, no antibodies in a non-infected individual. This is a Danilo. This is a question that was asked today on Patreon as well by a KoolBeen there. The possibility of having no B cell response at all is not possible. There will be some response, but we have had this discussion for a long time, and I would look at some studies to further provide us this data. But we know that it is what happens. So let's say this is our innate arm. So when the virus arrives, the innate arm cells, macrophages, are the primary players. Neutrophils help as well. And of course, we know dendritic cells, which are kind of macrophages. Dendritic cells, right? So these cells become active. So there is natural killer cells and others too, but they are not participant in the head-on collision with the virus. It is really macrophages, neutrophils, dendritic cells that take on the virus. When they take on the virus, then what they do is these guys would interact with the T helper cells of the acquired side. So, right, this is innate arm, and now the black is in the acquired side. So, T helper on the acquired side, right? CD4 positive, CD4 positive. Now, it is the T helper cell here which is interacting with the macrophage or dendritic cell, for example. And then we have done this discussion many times. In the presence of interleukin 4, absence of interleukin 12, the T helper cell would direct the functionality of the immune system towards, right? It would become T helper 2, and that would then cause B cell to become a plasma cell, and antibodies are produced. Now, T helper 2, in the presence of interleukin 12 and absence of IL-4 maybe, becomes T helper 1, which will then cause cytotoxic T cells. So cytotoxic T cells are CD8 positive, and it activates them. Now, so here let's make a little cell here as well, macrophage. So now this is possible that from a macrophage to a T helper cell, the pathway primarily, dominantly goes towards the cytotoxic arm. And let's say this becomes 70% dominant, or 70% the arm that is taking care of the virus. And then 10-15% over here, and maybe another 10-15% here. And so there will be some antibodies. They may be so less and so short-lived, the cells, the plasma cells, that we might not notice them, but there will be some. And CD8 is primarily the dominant arm. In the majority of the cases with COVID, the dominant arm is actually this arm, the antibody arm, and the CD8 side is less dominant. So to answer your question, absolute absence of antibodies, it may be that antibodies are not detected, but absolute absence is not going to be, meaning the B cells, unless they're abnormal, B cells just totally do not function at all. That's not possible. Good question, though. Guy Telfer says UVC is blinding, and in wild animals, birds die without sight, losing the sense. Texas says my B cells are picky; they don't always choose to protect. The immune system is just weird in all of us. It is moody. Jay's videos says Make a video about research into nebulized ivermectin to achieve higher concentration in the lungs and upper respiratory tract. I left some links in a reply on Twitter. Okay, I'll check it out. We'll have to go to some other platform to have that discussion. Bromley says, is Novavax being administered in the States? No, they were administering as part of a trial. Now they have applied for the EUA, but not until the EUA is granted. Correct. Barbara, correct. Yep. So I think Robin on Sunday, he said, get ready for the possibility. I'm paraphrasing him. Learner says, a non vaccine question? Sure. We can even have art questions here. And I'm not a good artist and I'm not an art teacher. So not I have to give these disclaimers everywhere. I'm not an art teacher. I'm not practicing here. But anyways, with those disclaimers, we will work. Lika says, might it be possible that Omicron spikes chase away old version spike protein attached to the ACE2 receptor? There are studies that Omicron is up to 9-fold more attracted to the receptor. So if you're correct, this is called a competitive antagonism. This is called, I'm going to write it down here. It is called competitive antagonism. And that is, if there is a receptor, let's say this is the ACE2 receptor, so if there is a receptor and there are two candidates that want to attach here, and one has, let's say, higher electrical affinity or has higher higher concentration. So this electrical affinity or binding affinity, or has higher concentration, then it is possible that this guy would win over. And even if the other one is present here, I should have made that other one, let's say, black. So even if the black was present here, this one with the higher affinity can actually displace that and occupy this place. So in theory, it is possible. The question is, are we going to have spike proteins sitting in the system bound to this ACE2s? Because remember, as soon as the ACE2 is bound, ACE2 is going to become recycled. That's what downregulation is. ACE2 and the spike protein will internalize in the cell and will be destroyed. So that ACE2 that has been bound is not going to be sitting out there waiting for some other thing to come and displace it. But there'll be new ACE2s. Keeney says, I'm not a medical person, but aren't coronaviruses supposed to constantly mutate? Yes, all viruses do that. So yes, you're correct. John Snyder is working on the UV light system today. So learner says, please, you said that when you upload the same video to another video platform, YouTube algorithm will harm your channel. Can you please clear that up? So, no. So, if I upload a video on another platform, then YouTube has nothing to do with it. But YouTube says in their privacy, in their policy, not privacy, that if you promote another platform by putting the links on YouTube, then they can stop your channel. But you see it all the time. For example, if you see Bert Weinstein, he posts on the YouTube and has a link towards Odyssey. Or if you look at Joe Rogan, he posts on YouTube and also, I believe, has links out there. So many have these links, but YouTube has this in the privacy. So, what is not privacy in their terms? What's the benefit of keeping those clauses? That is when they want to enforce it on someone, they can say we had it in our clause. So they usually don't do it, but if they put their crosshairs on a person, on a channel, then they would have all the reasons to close it down without any consequences. And that is why these things exist. But I didn't say that if I put a video out somewhere else like Odyssey or Rumble and I don't put their links over on YouTube, then I don't think that they can care or they should care or they can legally care. What are you doing, Bambi? Bambi says, I'm sure it would. Just watching the load again with Purcell and Lenner. What is Purcell and Lenner? I am just totally naive. So, Plaquenil and congestive heart failure, I'm not aware. They may be two separate things. There may be a cardiac issue going on and then the inflammation, or I don't know. I do not know if Plaquenil has direct impact. Um, let's see. So, it can cause arrhythmias, but not congestive heart failure. Yeah, I don't think so. But so arrhythmias are possible. Congestive heart, if the person's heart is already kind of in a bad state, then maybe. Vivi says I'm a little late. Did I hear that the US may get restrictions again? They are they are saying it, they are preparing people to do that, but so far there is no data that shows that there is a need. DDS says good night. Good night. Okay. Barbara is saying. Barbara and Lotus, good night. Danilo says, sir, do all SARS-CoV-2 infected cells die? Cause open reading frame, NSP, disturbance, expression translation? Not necessarily. So interestingly, SARS-CoV-2 doesn't necessarily destroy the cell on the way out. So it is possible for the cell to survive, but usually a cell that is virally infected, that cell just has very less chances to survive because there's a lot of destruction that has occurred within the cell. So Janet says they're monitoring the sewage wastewater and the levels of BA2 are going up, which is fine. The question is BA2 more harmful? We saw the Denmark study that it is not compared to BA1. And we are also looking at various state data, and I don't see that there is a um, correlation. The number of infections being more, and as a result, more people dying because more people are infected, more are going to hospital, and more are dying, but the percentages are in control. That number may increase because of the sheer number of cases. So eyes effect is very real with plaquenil. Critical Thought says we need to study that correlates sewage data with immunity data. I think there are going to be such studies. Let's look at this. So let's see BA2 in the USA. I don't know if it. So LA Times says, I don't have the ads on because when I'm teaching, ads just keep spinning the Chrome. Politico, and please don't mind whatever their leaning is. BA2 now dominant variant in the United States as funding fight continues. So we should actually look at CDC. CDC Variant Tracker. I thought that Australia's dashboard looked better than this as well. I want our dashboard to look great too. Okay, so COVID data basics, vaccination, COVID data. Variant tracker. No, I don't want to give you feedback. Is this the one? Variants of the virus about Omicron, Delta, Omicron in the United States. Spreads easily, symptoms severe. Omicron infection generally causes less severe disease. We know that. Treatments. Genomic surveillance. Let's say emerging, no, emerging. Multiple SARS-CoV-2 variants are circulating globally. Several new variants emerged in the fall of 2020. What? Fall of 20. This is updated on January 28, 2021. That's too long ago. New variants. The page is broken. CDC's role in tracking variant, that would be there. Oh, come on. Where is the variant information? As you can tell, I'm not a big fan of CDC's. So, Omicron. So what is the date? 2021. All right. So as you can tell, I can't find it. So I'll find it offline and discuss it. But I don't think that we are at a point to say we have a problem with BA2. Robin says, as someone who designs websites, I think CDC site is designed so you can't find what you're looking for. And to add to that, this is how news media get to manipulate the news, because you cannot directly go find data. Then they usually do not provide link. They simply say CDC said it, and now they manipulate that as well. And you can just keep trying to figure out where is the original. There should be a regulation somewhere to say that all news should have references, just like all medical discussions have references. So I saw a question from Margaret. So Margaret says, I don't like the idea of anything connected with this pandemic in the wastewater. Please let me know if I am wrong. You're correct, but here's the deal. When we are infected, we have the coronavirus and its debris um, exiting through our fecal route as well. And so they can actually measure the amount of virus debris present in the wastewater, and from there they can see if the community has, what is the load of the virus in the community. So that's just, it is, I mean, we can't stop that. um, Leon says cold showers. Sorry, I didn't get it. So, Danilo, please do me a favor. Just don't spam with your questions. It's not necessary that I answer every single question. I try to give everybody a chance. And sometimes I actually just skip the questions because I think they are not, either I don't know the answer to them or they're not relevant. So, let's see. So, just imagine that a new virus emerges and a spike of it has no identical amino acid sequence that all of our body proteins have. How would B cell or any other immune cells recognize it? So there is a concept of somatic hypermutation, and I have done that discussion. It's a lecture present on DrBeen as well. I have done the discussion here on the YouTube channel, the other channel as well. So essentially, what happens is that, so imagine we are all born with these hands. There are sometimes some changes in them as well, some differences too. But when a B cell or a T cell is born, their hands, their receptors, are randomly structured. So imagine each finger is an epitope, and there can be 7 to 13 or even up to 21, 22 epitopes or fingers with which they'll grab a specific structure. One cell can only grab one kind of structure for which it is structured. The design of the cell's receptor or hand only fits a specific type. So imagine if my hand is like this, it can only fit this. Or if my other hand, a different cell, is like this, then it can only fit with this one. So when a cell is born, the receptor is randomly created. So we have millions of cells with random patterns, and we hope that those patterns would then fit with the cell's foreign material that is coming in. So this is called somatic hypermutation, and you can check it out. No worries, Danilo. I'm just kind of giving you a way to communicate. I like your questions. They're good questions. Janet says a public health advisor just suggested that jets should have an N95 mask seating area available, kind of like having a P zone at the deep end of the swimming pool. Okay, so Lennon says, please have a scientific view episode on cold showers for healthcare and immune system. I read a lot of positive effects. I started in July with daily cold showers. Cold showers are good, actually. Okay, will do. Let me write it down. I still feel that the community here, we should have a couple of topics, themes that we work with and kind of increase our knowledge in those areas. For example, aging, cancers, and so on. Oh, Nipa is here. Hey, Nipa, how are you? Nipa says you're wearing contact lenses. Yes. Yes. John has a good question. I'm not going to show it. It involves IVM. So, Robin, I'm going to talk about that op-ed. I have the link. All good. Very good to know. Thank you very much for finding this channel as well. Susan says, "Who needs cold showers? Just go outside at night in my house boat and winter boots with my dogs." That's so nice. Eric Dog says, "Are these cold showers after taking a steam bath or similar, like those sweets, then then working with far branch?" So I think a couple of things to see. One, it there are so many mechanisms that are connected to these things. Very cold and very hot actually helps us age less, especially cold helps us age less. So that is one. Second, it is also possible the cold showers or cold damps actually help reduce inflammation. So they kind of calm down the inflammatory system as well by reducing temperature. Then, cold or hot outside of the normal temperature can actually cause mast cell to go mad as well, and they can release their mast cell ingredients, causing reactions. So it really depends what is a person's body habitus, and then the situation with the showers. I would do a longer, in-depth discussion, as was said by Lennon, Lernan as well. Health community, this is a very large set of topics. So, do we focus on some areas? So, Melamorph, welcome. Have you done any research on back pain and Omicron? No. I thought that the back pain was that when we are infected with the virus, we're exhausted, our muscles are not picking up our body's weight correctly, and so we start having back pains. But I can do more research. Where is De Niro? De Niro, my reason was not to stop you from questions. You had good questions. So continue to ask questions, please. Casey says, please expand longer in-depth discussion on topic of autonomic dysfunction. So yes, autonomic dysfunction is still sitting. I am actually ready with the next step in autonomic dysfunction to say what are the bigger problems and then tackle those one by one. For example, POTS, then the burning sensation on the skin, then the GIT abnormalities. I think these are the most common autonomic dysfunction is POTS, then GIT, excuse me, disturbance, and then other. So I'll discuss them. So Lernan says, DrBeen, Lernen der Zukunft is the channel. Andreas is my name. Welcome, Andreas. Thank you very much for sharing your name. Melamorph says, also, would a bacterial infection occur after virus and stay in the back? Many times, secondary infections occur, not even staying in the back. They can actually become active as well. That is a bigger problem during any viral or bacterial infection, that if the body gets down, the secondary infections can also pop up and they can actually end up killing people as well. Sepsis can occur where a bunch of infections become ramped up. And John Snyder's John Snyder is back towards to the UV lights. Very good, John. Today's mission, excuse me, for John is UV lights. John says, what program will you use to teach us how to draw? Can we use the ivermectin tablet as a drawing tool? So, yes, you can use ivermectin. And I would use this program, which was this is called Mischief, Made with Mischief. I love this program because this program's background is that the inventor of this algorithm. So check this out. If I zoom out, I can go unlimited small or unlimited big. So this is an infinite canvas program. And the inventor, she wrote this algorithm to create this this way. She calls it seeing a flower from the moon. So the program is excellent. Although this program had a problem, and that problem was it didn't have filling tool. So normally in other drawing programs, you can create a structure and then you can bring in a filler or filling tool and you can fill this with something. It's a very important part of drawing digitally. This tool does not have filling capability. So if you have to fill this diagram, this little illustration, you have to actually fill it like this. So it is, so for people like me who don't care to be too accurate, I actually like this little painterly type look and feel. So the light is from this side, so the shadows should be on this side. So I actually like this feel, and so I'm kind of okay with it. But professional artists do not. So this program could not actually take over. So she was selling it for 30 I think 35 or $39. I remember it because I bought it. But then this program did not get traction. So when it is called Made with Mischief. So what she did was she continued this startup, sold the intellectual property to a very big um, company. She got acquired who used this technology for image processing and for zoom in and zoom out things. So she has now moved on. She's in that company doing other good things. But this is the background. I love this program because of its capability of unlimited canvas. Fortunate for me, I had bought the original license, so I had the license, and I'm using now unsupported version. There are some defects in it which I just have to live with. And then on Reddit, there is actually, if you search for Made with Mischief license on Reddit, you would find someone who has the license and the download instructions, and you can try it that way. I'm not asking you to use an illegal software, but they have discontinued and somebody has put it up on Reddit. So you decide, I have a license for this one, and uh, this is what I do. I have a pro version here. So Made with Mischief. The other good software is Procreate on iPad. I love Procreate software on iPad. The If you're looking for more digital, the ultimate digital tool that I really love is Clip Studio Paint. I love that for drawing purposes, and I love Rebel for painting. So at some point we'll reach a point of painting together as well, and we can use Rebel, and that is as good as traditional medium. So John, hopefully that answers your question. So Texas is saying, so social media decided a study published by BMJ would be removed. That's interesting. They're removing many. So in the last few days, I have done talks on YouTube about Pfizer vaccine New York State data, then the brain size reduction with mid COVID, with mild COVID, and with the vaccine. They demonetized the vaccine sites. So Bromlia says, I like the painting better than filling. You're correct. I like this painterly behavior as well. And the other thing about this program is that it has a very small number of brushes. So the total number of brushes are the following. This is one brush. This is another brush. This is one more brush. This is another brush. And this and this. This is it. These are the brushes that you get. So you have to work with these brushes. I kind of like that as well because it reduces my options and I can just focus on drawing. And most of the time I just want to draw eyes, which the auditors, medical auditors, do not like that at all. So in honor of the medical auditors, here are eyes on a cell. so so this is, what cell should this be? Let's call this a macrophage. Although macrophages do not look like this. They have a bunch of mm, projections from their surface like this, and they have doll-like receptors and DAMPs and PAMPs and so on. So Janet says googly eyes. Yes. Critical thought. Yes. So Lennon says, are you on a Windows PC? Yes. I used to be on my Mac. However, for some softwares, I moved over to Windows, and Windows is just so horrible. It crashes, it forgets the configurations. Every time Windows is updated, my network um, settings are destroyed, and I have two network cards. One is the external and one is internal. Internal is not very good, external is good. And every time Windows updates, it forgets all the configurations and defaults back to the internal network card. And then I do the lectures, and people say, well, something is going on with your network. And it turns out the voice is choppy. And then I go back and disable the internal network and um, re-enable the external. And the internal network is built into the board, so I cannot remove it. So it's just Windows is weird. So John says, thank you. What hardware do you use to draw? So I have this Wacom. So let me show. So I have Wacom Cintiq, although I believe that instead of the Wacom Cintiq, the Huion tablet is better, and it is cheaper as well. So Huion tablets, if you see here, $399, 219, $899. So they are cheaper and better. So, but I use Cintiq because I had bought it before the Huion. So my Cintiq, I believe it is 13 HD. This is the one. I also have a Huion that I didn't attach because I didn't know what Windows is going to do and might disrupt my teaching. With that, I have this, of course, the pen. This pen. It comes with the tablet and this little screen palm rejection glove that many people say, what's wrong with your hand? So this allows me to kind of draw better and slide better. Plus, my palm does not act as a touch for the surface, and so the software doesn't go confused. So hopefully that answers that question. So Alexander says, can you uninstall and disable the driver for the internal network card and it should avoid the issue? I have done that many times. I have uninstalled it, it reinstalls it every time it updates, or I have disabled it so many times, it re-enables it. Roller Girl says, cool glove. Thank you very much. These are actually, you can order them on Amazon if you're going to draw with the on iPad or on Wacom. So you can say Amazon palm or just simply palm rejection gloves, and you can see them $6, $7, and these $6, $7 have more than one gloves in them. Oh, I did not share my screen, so very quickly. So these are the palm rejection gloves, $6, $7. DrBeen superhero, yes, half superhero. DDS says we should all get gloves so we can recognize KoolBeens in the wild. Absolutely. This can become our little symbol, just like our bat sign. So this is our bat sign. uh, Not Helion. I think it is Huion. I do not know pronunciation, HUION tablet. I just typed it. So, talking about Windows, the other thing is I have Windows 11, and when I installed the Windows 11, it said your computer is not compatible, although I had bought it newly. And it turned out that there is a TPM setting in the configuration in the BIOS that you have to turn it on. So I turned on the TPM setting that allowed Windows to install, and it didn't have any problem. And lately, with the latest update, it has once again started saying your computer is not ready for Windows 11. It is Windows 11 is running on it. TPM setting is there, and it still keeps saying that. So the Windows is just socks can be, yes. Yes, this is our secret handshake. So from here, Roller Girl says, do they have socks too? Um, drawing socks to draw with the feet. That is cool. DrBeen branded palm rejection gloves. Cool. So we are at 8 o'clock. We had less discussions today about med. So Thursday will be the drawing. So Patty says, have you ever tried Linux? Yes. So the my love with the operating systems. I was very young when I got really enamored by the idea of operating systems. And how I became enamored with the operating systems was that in those days, viruses were newly formed creatures, computer viruses, and they were everywhere. And youngsters like me, we were like, wow, there is a virus. And then I found a book that said the anatomy of a virus. It was written by someone in UK. Some friend had brought it over. I saw that book, I took it, and that person, the book showed how the boot sector works with the booting up of the system and what is the software in that 512 bytes of the boot sector. And that was excellent. And how it goes to BIOS and loads the drivers and runs this operating system. So I became very, very interested in operating systems. So not only I have tried Linux and of course Windows and Mac, but I have actually tried to write my own operating system as well. And that was just for a fun thing, not like Linus Torvalds, who actually wrote it and it became a big deal. But there was a small operating system which I wrote. So I love operating systems and I try them. I love languages, computer languages, and the compilers as well. I've written my own recursive descent compiler with a language that still runs in Staples. When I was there, I wrote the compiler and the language. It runs in one part of their technology. I'm sure that they have removed it by now. Hmm. So this is very interesting. Cylon says towards the emergence of a new form of the neurodegenerative Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, 16 cases of CJD declared a few days after COVID-19 vaccine jab. Cylon, is there any link that you can share on Discord or Twitter? So, John, I wrote it in assembly and C. So I am still, so my first assembly language that I learned was the 80 processor assembly. Then I learned for 8086 and 8088. So I still love assembly. It's just too tedious to write. But my first experience with languages was with assembly, then C, then C++, and then onwards. So Dan says, when can we buy KBCL merchandise? Very soon, because it looks like these beans. People like that design, so maybe I should put that on a T-shirt and mug. Patty says, I use Linux Mint 19.3, not computer savvy at all. Very easy to use for me. I like Linux. John Snyder says Windows 98. Cool. So, with this, thank you very much for being here. Let's break for today. I'm going to try to figure out a theme for our discussions. For example, I was actually thinking today to start immunology from the scratch. So, daily we talk half an hour immunology, a new concept in immunology, but all intertwined and stitched together. And then we do the chit chats as well, or something else. So, with this, let's break for today. There is a link in the description to buy DrBeen premium account plan. Very, very cheap or inexpensive. Cheap, I do not like to say. There is link to buy me a coffee or use PayPal to support this work or become a patron as well. So, thank you very much. Like, subscribe, and share. And I would see you tomorrow. Bye bye.